Happy Thursday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name is Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, June the 1st, 2023, and I am recording here in London, Ontario, Canada, here at the Evertote workshop. June 1st. I honestly don't, I'm sure many of you feel the same way. I honestly don't know how it happened. It just flew. The last 6 months have just flown by like crazy, like 9-0. So yeah, the view here today is it's a little bit boring for you, isn't it? So let's do a little change, and then you won't have my door in half of your view. This room has it's on an angle. My desk is on an angle, so I'm actually on not a 45-degree angle, but at quite an angle the way the desk is set up to the door, because the way this building is, in order for you to be able to get into the driveway behind the building, they actually had to shape the back corner of the building so that cars could get around the corner. It's a very tight parking lot at the back for just a few cars, and anyone who has never driven down it the first few times, coming both in and especially leaving, are a little bit hair-raising. And we've had a few people perhaps, you know, touch their cars on the poles on the way out. There are two metal poles that you have to watch for. You have to check your mirror. Everyone sees the first pole, but you have to, every chance I get, anyone who's new, I'm like, make sure you check for the second pole. It's the second pole. You guys don't need to know any of this. This is not important stuff. The important stuff is stitching. I've got some stitching to share with you today, because I am all in the projects that I'm working on lately. I'm so thrilled with my stitching. So I think I've got some, you know, some substantial progress to share with you. For me. If you've been here for a while, you know that that I am a slow stitcher, and I have many whips, many whips. But I do, I've been using a timer system. There's an app. I use an iPhone, so it's an Apple app called Multi-Timer. And I know Paula, you mentioned that you were able to get more than 6 timers on yours. I only have 6 on mine. Maybe getting more is like a paid feature if you pay for it. I'm frugal, and I'm using the free version of the app, so I have 6 timers. I have 6 whips chosen on for each of those timers, and I put 6 hours in, and then I work on them for a dedicated 6 hours. So if I get up and have dinner or start scrolling Instagram, I make sure that I pause my timer, so that I like to be particular. It needs to be 6 total hours. So I have been working on some projects. Before we do that, I have a giveaway for you today. So I'm going to share that with you first, because I finally put so I record videos every other week on this channel, and in alternate weeks I record over, well, it's still in the same building, but I record with my friend Carrie, who is the dyer of Roxy Floss Co. And we have I have a workshop channel for Evertote. We record Flosstube videos that I put up over there on the Evertote Notes from the Workshop channel. So last week, if you watch both, then I actually have totally different projects than well, one of them's the same. But the other ones, no, I think I showed 2 of them, but I have progress, not to worry. We have a giveaway over there that I haven't pulled a winner for yet. So this is my reminder to myself to make sure I do that. It was for a small project bag and some blue floss and the Ink Circles Damask Square pattern. So if you remember watching that video over on the other channel, I have not pulled the winner for that yet. It's coming. And that was from a few videos back. I can't even point you in the right direction. I am full of non-information today that you don't care about or need to know about. So let's get to the giveaway for today. I was cleaning out the room next door, and I came across, I sometimes take photos in the room next door when the afternoon light is just right of shop models and floss packs and things like that, if I want to post about them on Instagram, because I get all of the afternoon light on this side of the building. Makes it really hot in the summertime, but the light sometimes, as it filters through the trees, and I have great natural light. And if it's just right, I can take quite a nice photo without having to spend a ton of time editing. So I found this morning that I had left the last shop model from ages ago. And I think I must have put it back up there again recently, because this, I'm sure, was downstairs. This is the shop model that we have here for Michelle Bendy's I'm Quite the Lady Man. So it's for Lady Man 1844 Lady Man. And this model was perfectly stitched by Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, designer and friend and rock star. My friend Ellen stitched this, and so I have her model here of Michelle's chart. And I should point this out because sometimes invariably somebody will see it and say that it's missing a stitch. So if you look closely at the butterflies there, you see how one of them is missing the top stitch on its antenna right there, and the other one has both. That's intentional. This was a reproduction that Michelle did, and that is the way the chart is. So it's not a mistake, it is missing a stitch there. Doesn't that look great? Yeah, the colors in this are fantastic. So this was a 36 count. This was a fabric that Ellen had in her stash. It's not a Roxy Floss Co fabric. I don't actually know what it is, but it's beautiful, whatever it is. Looks like a hand-dyed something something. It's beautiful. But the flosses are Roxy Floss Co flosses. So I found the model. John just called and interrupted me. So giveaway. I showed you the model. So I found a chart and floss pack in there. I have a chart and a full, beautiful Roxy Floss Co. Lady Man floss pack. It's all full skeins. These are 8-yard skeins, and what have we got? 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 skeins. And then I think, oh yeah, there's 3 DMCs needed in the chart. So 18 skeins of floss. So this is up for giveaway for today. And who wouldn't want to stitch the Lady Man? Yeah, this chart's so great. Okay, so let's see. In your comment, you're going to leave me a comment on this video if you would like a chance to have your name drawn for this prize. And just the number 1844. So the numbers 1844. Have that in your comment somehow. Just put it in there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but that's what I'm going to be looking for when I choose a winner in 2 weeks. Okay, so what have I been working on? So I've mostly been focusing on 3 things since we recorded last Thursday. The first one was you know, guys, I'm so close to, considering I have so many large projects on the go, I'm really close to, I feel like I'm really close to a finish on my Halsingland Blommer from Modern Folk Embroidery. So here's where I'm at. This is on my timer. There, it's a little darker in real life. I'm gonna try and see if I can get the colors true for you, because it's one of my favorite things that I've ever done. I'm so in love with it. The colors just make me so happy. So Jacob's original design was stitched on, was a white background with red. So it's a monochromatic piece that he designed. It's called Swedish Flower, Halsingland Blommer. And when I saw it, and I saw this linen that came in, it's a one-of-a-kind linen, I should tell. Oh, there. See that color? That's the color right there. That's true. Oh, it's so good. And it's gonna look amazing on my couch. I'm gonna finish it into a pillow. This is a one-of-a-kind Roxy Floss Co 28 count linen, and the flosses are Pippy, which is the dark reddish brown, and then South Beach is that pop of warm corally pink. It's not really warm, it's actually, it's a really bright pop of color in there. So what I did was, because it's a monochromatic design, and I always have people ask, you know, how do you decide where you're going to put your second color? I just used a highlighter right on the chart, and I drew right on it where I thought I would like the color to be. And then it worked, because I was quite happy with the placement of those extra accents of color. And yeah, I actually added more. Originally, I didn't have extra color around the middle medallion, and then when I was stitching, I stitched the outside first, and then I thought, oh, I need to add some more color right in the center. So I added in that after the fact. So it does tend to wash out a little bit the closer I get, but, and of course the light is shining through it, but I think you get a good idea. So I completed the top diamond. This is now done, as you can see, and I'm just, my next big goal is to completely finish the interior of that diamond, because then I just have the two corners and the top border. It's practically done. There's still a lot of stitching in there, but you know what I mean. It's so satisfying. What a satisfying stitch this is. I love it. So I'm about an hour and a half into my 6 hours. So I still have 4.5 hours left. Can get a lot done. I know I can finish the middle of that diamond. And oh, I did quite a bit of work on this side of the border. I got quite a lot of that done as well. I had left my chart. I'd left my chart either upstairs or at the office or something, and this was on my floor frame downstairs, and so I was too lazy to go upstairs and grab the chart. So I just worked on the border, because I don't need the chart for that. It's geometric and I know what I'm doing, so I just stitched. Okay, next thing I've been working on. This is oh, my mug matches, I guess. I'm all about the green today. Look at that. I'm hosting a stitch along. My friend Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch. This is the Friendship sampler, and I started this stitch along a few months back, I think the middle of March, and my goal is to have this completely finished by the end of August, when I will be hosting a stitch along and a knit along for Sampler September, and I'll show you those projects in a few minutes. So the Friendship sampler, as it is, was too big for what I wanted it to be for my own stitch. I actually have the model of this. I showed it last week on the joint floss tube with Carrie. I have the shop model is downstairs, but my version is going to be slightly smaller, because I'm taking out the, and I know I tell you this every time I show this piece, so apologies if I'm boring the heck out of you friends who come back week after week, but we always have lots of new people watching, and well, I like to over explain things anyways, so there you have it. I'm taking out the tiny people at the bottom. I'm also taking out all of the initials in the cartouches, and I'm taking out this top border, that border right above the alphabet, the floral border, and I'm going directly to top border. So it's top border, those two cartouches with the phrase and the alphabet, taking that out, and then the house, and then the bottom border. That's the plan. And I completely finished the middle two cartouches, the big one. Oh, oops, I left my floss. I didn't actually finish my thread. So let me just move that out of the way. There. Okay. So the alphabet is done. Can you see that? And the phrase is done. So the two big middle parts are done. And I'm telling you, the border, I know what I can do. I can put that down on there and I can hold that up like that. There. The border on this alphabet cartouche took forever. Even though it was just like a row of stitching, it took a long time. It took a really long time. So I was glad when that was done. And then I couldn't resist. I had to fill this in. I was gonna jump right to the border, but I thought, no, finish it off. So I finished those two flowers that were in the middle, which of course matched these two right here. And then I moved over to that floral border, which is so pretty. It's so beautiful. Look at those. Let me get something behind that so you can see it properly without light shining through it. Look at, see that? Look at how pretty that is. So this is a 40 count porcelain linen, Roxy Floss Co porcelain linen, and the called for flosses, which look like this. So lots of darker colors in there, but also pops of red and pink and blue, lighter colors in there. So I know my blazer is quite bright, so it's not a great backdrop for brightly colored floss, but I love this color. I look pretty good in this color, if I do say so myself. Toot my own horn. I love this color. This is my color. But yeah, this floss, man, it's so pretty. Yeah. So I feel like I'm finally the cartouches in the middle, I don't know why they just seem to take me longer than they should have. But now, once I got onto those flowers, they stitched up so fast and they were just so pretty. I know lots of people will stitch all of one thing first, like stitch all of the green, the vines all the way around the entirety of the design. I'm a finisher. Sometimes. In this case, I wanted to have everything finished as I moved along. So I finished each flower. Nothing left to do. Those are done. It was very satisfying, I'm not gonna lie. And the little coffee cups there, love that. So when Ellen helped me rechart this, and she added in, and so instead of the little figures of friends, I will have little figures of friends, but they're going to be the four-legged kind. And so I'm going to have a wee little Luna in one corner and a wee little Daria in the other corner. Daria was my my golden retriever who passed away a few years back. Okay, and so since I'll show you my last piece in a minute, because I was just telling you about the stitch along. So my goal is to have that finished by the end of August, because come September 1st, Sampler September, we have a really big collaboration here at Evertote happening for Sampler September, and I am going to be hosting a stitch along and a knit along here on this channel, because I am going to stitch the heck out of this chart. Are you ready? Many of you will have seen this already. So this is called September's Revenge, and it's not huge. it's not an overly massive chart, so I think it's totally doable. So come September, there will be videos on this channel, not daily, but definitely more frequently than once every 2 weeks, helping lead us to a finish by the end of September. We are gonna stitch this in 1 month. We're gonna do it. I have a plan. So these are ready to go. We're shipping, well, originally we'd said we were shipping everything in July, but we're actually finding that I think we're gonna be a little sooner than that. So we're probably gonna start shipping charts and floss next week, and bags and yarn and all the other good stuff in June. So we're moving along. So the story behind this is Ellen designed the chart, and then she pulled the floss pack for it. She chose Roxy Floss Co colors for it, and then I sent the floss pack to Heather of Timber Yarns, who is a local dyer here in Ontario. So she's an Ontario yarn dyer, known for her self-striping yarn. So I sent her the floss pack because we had discussed working together, and I said, you know, do you think you could turn this floss into a self-striping sock? And she did. Ta-da! I've shown this before and we've shared it on Instagram. This yarn is this floss in yarn form, and it stripes up. It's amazing. So September 1st, and I'm actually gonna take 2 months to do the sock knit along, because I'm gonna do 1 sock in September and 1 sock in October. And if you know me, that is a huge challenge. There are lots of people who can knit socks way faster than me. I am not one of them. So to knit a pair of socks in 2 months, for me, is really fast. So that's a challenge that I'm giving to myself for those 2 months, because it's Socktober. So this yarn, Heather has named it Sampler Stripe Timber. Sampler Stripe Timber 2023. And as you can see, those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. Each one of those colors becomes a stripe. And the way that this sock yarn comes is that it's 2 50-gram hanks. So you end up with 2 identical socks. They're matched. As long as you start at the right end. As long as you start with the same color, you'll end up with a matched pair of socks. Striped socks. Striped socks are my favorite socks to make. They're fun. They're just fun. And so Shiloh of X Stitch MD is going to join in with me with this stitch along. So if you watch Shiloh over on her Flosstube channel, you'll be seeing her progress as well. So yeah, so here's the model. It's such a great chart. Ellen stitched the model on a 36 count. The linen is Panettone, and the floss is charted for Roxy Floss Co. So this is what we're going to be stitching in September. So that's why I need to, I want to work really hard and have my friendship sampler done. I found completing the stitch along, the holiday countdown in December, really, really, really satisfying. Setting that goal and then accomplishing it. So I'm a little behind on where I should be with my friendship sampler. I have 2 weeks of holiday coming up in July. So what I've decided to do is, you know how normally you pack like 100 projects to take with you? I'm only gonna take 3 projects, 2 cross stitch, 1 knitting. And my goal will be to have major progress on my friendship sampler. And that's, you know, that's only a few weeks away. So there's still time yet. The third thing that I've been working on that I'm in love with. I'm in love with this little chart. It's so sweet. This is where did it go? Where did it go? I think I might have left it in the other room, and I really need to show you the full chart, so let me go grab it. Okay, so this is Sing After the Storm. And this, I kind of have to explain this a little bit. Now, I know I have a channel for the workshop where it's just supposed to be a sales channel. But it's very difficult because this is more my personal channel where I tell you some things about the family and the dog and all that kind of stuff. But and more of my personal crafting. But all of my personal crafting is for work. So I know, poor me, right? So when I show you things, I invariably get questions about them. So I'm honestly not trying to give you a sales pitch. This is simply trying to save myself a few emails for people who have this chart already, who bought it at Stitch North, or who just fall in love with it and want to also stitch it. That's all. So this was the collaboration this year for Stitch North 2023. And it was with Leanne of 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, who is also from here in Ontario. And Leanne, I said, we were talking to each other about this collaboration, and I said, you know, I've got this idea because I know what kind of a bag I want to make. I want to make a 9-patch bag with squares, quilting cotton that are from my stash that I've been saving. I want to make some squares, special 9 patches, and turn them into bags. And I want to do a collaboration with you where you do a chart and the whole thing comes together. And so we brainstormed and came up with the idea to do a 9-patch cross-stitch design, but only 5 of the patches would be cross-stitch. The other 4 patches will be a quilting cotton. Or you could stitch 9 things if you wanted and fill in the 4 blanks yourself. This project is really, really open-ended and open to your own interpretation. And if you have this chart, you'll notice that nothing about the 9-patch idea is actually on the chart, because these designs are perfectly capable of standing on their own. They're beautiful. So Leanne said she had a reproduction sampler in her possession. You can see pictures of it on the website under the, if you just look in our search bar for Sing After the Storm, all of this information that I'm telling you about will pop up. And she said it was kind of divided up into these different motifs on this sampler. It's beautiful. And so she's pulling 5 of the motifs from this sampler and turning them into standalone charts, reproducing them. And so not 9, even though my goal is to make a 9-patch square, I'm using a 40 count linen. So mine are quite small. My patches will be quite small. Other people are using larger fabric, so their squares will be a little bit bigger, and maybe they're going to make a much larger 9-patch and make a tote bag, or the front panel of a cushion for their couch, or even starting a quilt with this in the center panel. I mean, really, the options are, you're only limited by your imagination. It's such an open-ended project, which I love. So I always get quite a few questions. I have been getting, and many of the questions are the same. So I'm going to take this opportunity to have kind of an FAQ for this project, because of course that's one of the problems with these things that are sort of open to interpretation. You know, lots of people want more direction. So first question I'm asked is, will all 5 designs fit on the piece of fabric that's coming with the kit? And the answer is no. You're only getting 1/8 of a yard. All 5 of these designs are going to be released individually. They're not actually charted yet. Leanne has charted the first one, which is Sing After the Storm. This was our first one that was just released. And the next 4 are going to be released throughout the next year. So they haven't been charted, they haven't been stitched, they're not complete. So our goal was to have a new one come out every couple of months. Many of the colors will be the same. That's another question. Will all of the flosses be the same? Will the floss pack be enough from this first one? And the answer to that is I actually don't really know. Likely you will need a few different colors. Some of the colors you may need more than one skein. So when people ask, you know, I want to make sure that I have enough linen and enough floss for all 5 designs. Well, that's not, you're gonna have to, if you really like to have everything like that, maybe this isn't the project for you, first of all, because the intention behind this is to really have a patchwork feel to it. So the dye lot of linen might be different when we release the next chart. The floss dye lot might be different. So maybe you need a secondary skein of, let's say, asparagus. It's one of our most popular greens and it's used in everything. And dye lots, we know what that's like, right? Different dye lots, for a hand-dyed floss, they change all the time. So chances are pretty good you're gonna get a different dye lot of asparagus the next time. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. There's no reason why. Like, think about when your grandparents would have been crafting, you know, years and years and years ago. They used what they had, and the colors they would pull together to make a sort of patchwork style quilt or something like that would have been eclectic and colorful and beautiful and different. So maybe your linen will be slightly different tone. So let me show you mine. Here's where I'm at. I just love this so much. This is so pretty. So that's what I have so far. I know, isn't it pretty? It's just so pretty. I have the first bird completely finished. So I'll bring it in a little closer so you can see. There, that's it, look at that. First bird is done. And, oh, it's so pretty. I know. This is very different from my normal style of stitching, and I am so enjoying this so much. It's really just been a total pleasure to stitch. I'm using a 40 count linen, 40 count Panettone linen with 1 strand of floss over 2 with the called for flosses, which are, this palette is just gorgeous. Those colors are, oh, beautiful. And so yeah, I still have to do the secondary bird here, a lot more greenery up here, more leaves down in here, and that's it. So people, you know, I've had a lot of emails asking, you know, is it going to be enough linen? It's not, definitely not going to, an eighth of a yard is definitely not going to be enough linen for five designs. But the smaller counts, it'll be enough for 2. It'll be enough for 2 of them. If you would like to stitch more than one of the design, I'm going to just take this off the Q-snap so I can show you. And it's going to be very wrinkled, so you'll forgive the wrinkles. But I wanted to show you. I will be stitching 2 designs on this particular piece of fabric because it's 40 count. You know, I've got lots of room. The designs are quite small. They're not all going to be the same stitch count. The middle block is going to be the largest. This block is intended to be one of the 4 corners. And all of the 4 corners are going to be slightly different size as well, but don't worry, everything will come together as we work our way through the next year. And of course, I'll be sharing my progress here. But yeah, the middle block is going to be the largest. So you can see my piece of fabric here. There's my bird over on that side, and I still have this whole half to go. But if you can see where I've stitched, and I did this purposely, I chose the part of the linen that's a little lighter in tone. So there's less modeling right here where this bird is. Can you see it? And then over on this side, oh, and it'd be much easier to see if it was ironed. But you're gonna have to trust me on it. This side is darker. So when I divide those up into 2 pieces, I've got one piece that has far less modeling and is lighter in tone. And then I have another piece that has, see, there you go, much darker modeling on there. And the secondary design is going to look completely different, even though it's from the same 1/8 of a yard of linen. And that's the effect that I'm going for. That's what I really want. I want it to look different and yeah, old-fashioned. But isn't that bird? I love this bird. It's just the prettiest bird. Come on, birdie. There we go. Look at that. so beautiful. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever stitched. I know I say that about everything. Every time I finish something, I know I feel the same way about everything I stitch, but it's just so delicate and pretty. And I wish it would focus on the bird and not my face. I know I know. I feel like it's almost been, I gotta do the math. It's almost been 6 years. 6 years that I've been recording videos and I still can't figure out how to focus properly. And that's probably not going to change anytime soon. But oh, look at it. It's so pretty pleased with myself. Yeah, I love it. So, you know I wish I could give you better answers as to what flosses are going to be used in the colors in the charts up ahead. Definitely, you know, if you feel like you have enough linen that you don't want to order linen, if you want to continue on the project, you just want to order a couple of flosses in the new chart, that's absolutely going to be something that's possible. We're not going to, you know, make you buy everything brand new all over again. There's going to be ways to, you know, mix and match and whatnot. So, I mean, it'd be silly. For example, let's say the color almond, right? If Leanne uses almond in the next chart, you're not going to need another skein of almond. You're going to have plenty left over from finishing this one, especially if you're stitching on the higher counts like 40 count and you're only using one strand. You're going to have lots of beautiful floss left over. So some of them you might only need 1 or 2 new colors because she's not guaranteeing that she can use entirely the same pack for each design. I have developed a real love affair with the strawberry shortcake floss. This floss, look at it, look at the variegation in this floss. Look at that color. Oh, it's so pretty. So that is Roxy Floss Co strawberry shortcake, and it's peachy, corally, brown, pink. Oh, it's so hard to describe, but it's just beautiful. And that's used in the bird's wings and the breast of the bird. Yeah, oh, it's so beautiful. And I know I pointed this out last week as well, but the color combos of the greens in here, they are green and Barrett, asparagus, arugula. So those are the 3 greens, the 3 main greens there. And then combined with this creamy, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get them to go together nicely the way I want them to, but that almond with those greens is gorgeous. Green and cream. Green and cream. That color combination is not a color combination that I ever really thought much about until I saw them together and I thought, oh, green and cream. Together at last. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it, if you couldn't tell. So yeah, so I've been, you know, getting some stitching done. It's been nice. It's been really nice. I've needed the distraction. So that's it for me for stitching. That's it for Flosstube stuff. So just got a little bit of personal stuff here to end out our chat today. So if you're not here for the personal malarkey, then I'll say goodbye and I'll see you here in a couple weeks. Don't forget to enter for the giveaway, 1844. So yeah, personal stuff. The family is home. John and Sarah are back. They got back last Friday night from Australia, and John's jet lag was terrible. He really did not feel well for a couple of days. Sarah, she was fine the first couple of days, and then she got a cold. I think she must have caught it on the plane, and she's been kind of miserable the last few days. I feel really bad for her. And also struggling with both, you know, jet lag still, but also I overheard her say to her dad last night, She said, you know how people get homesick, they feel homesick? She said, I think I'm vacation sick. Because she was there. If you didn't know, my daughter went on exchange to Australia for her last semester of university, and she completed her degree there at a school that's, you know, the people who were chosen for this exchange program from her university were allowed to choose which university they attended, and that was her choice. And she, with no surprise on our end, because my family, our little immediate unit, has always had a real fascination and love of anything Australian. And we'd never been there before, but we loved the TV, the accent, the wine, the, you know, just the general, you know. Sarah grew up watching the Wiggles. I mean, for a while, it was always a joke, because when she was a little, when she was a toddler, she used to, you know, they had the big red car, so she would call it the car. We're going to the car. And it was really funny, you know, this connection to Australia, and then but never having been there. And I would love, like, my favorite animal is a koala, and I would love to see a kangaroo in real life. Like, I cannot wait to go one day. And so she went there, and she lived there for 4 months, and she just had the best time. She fell in love with the country. She met a boy. Yeah, she met a boy. And who knows what will happen with that in the future, but they are still messaging each other every day, and clearly very fond of each other. So he's a lovely boy. John did meet him. Young man, I should say. He's not a boy, he's a young man. John did meet him while he was over there, and was quite impressed. So he got the tick of approval from the dad. And yeah, so, you know, one day I'll get back. One day I will get there, and I'm sure Sarah would come with me and show me around. And I wouldn't mind visiting a few online friends while I'm at it. I was lucky enough to meet Allie. Allie, Flosstube channel has completely escaped me. If you've watched Flosstube for a really long time, you'll know Allie's Stitching Studio from Australia. She is in Brisbane area, and I'd love to go over there and hang out with her in person. The creative curator in Canberra. I mean, so many people over in Australia. It's just, it's one of those bucket list places that I must go to, and I want to spend a lot of time there. I want to do all the things. I want to do all the things. So yeah, they're home, and things are, you know, my little family unit is back together, which feels really nice, really, really nice. We really missed Sarah. So having her back for however long she's back for before she starts her job in the big grown-up world, then yeah, we're excited. So that's part of the reason we're going to spend a couple of weeks together, just the 4 of us this summer. I'm taking a couple weeks off work, and we're going to hang out together. So anyway, I will leave it at that, and I will see you next week. I hope that you're well. I hope that you're safe, especially here in Canada. Extra special thoughts out to our Alberta and our Nova Scotia friends and family in the wildfires. They are horrendous wildfires. Please stay safe, and yeah, just stay safe. And I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Happy stitching.